Crimean Tatars say they will boycott the upcoming referendum on Crimea separating from Ukraine and joining the Russian Federation, with their leaders branding the vote absurd. Moscow deported the Crimean Tatars, the indigenous Muslim people of the peninsula, to Central Asia after World War II, and they were only allowed to return in significant numbers after the end of the Soviet Union.
Even if this situation is resolved without any serious conflict, it would allow some people to look down on those, irrespective of nationality, on those who stood against Crimea joining Russia, against changes to Crimean territorial status, changes in the territory of Ukraine. That is, the winners would torment the losers. Unfortunately, this practice exists in the post-Soviet space.
250,000 Tatars live in Crimea, and many still harbor fierce hatred for Russia and have long proudly boasted of their enthusiasm for independent Ukraine. Thousands of Tatars clashed with Russian-hired militant protesters in favor of unity with Kiev last week and what proved to be the eve of the Russian takeover. But it's not only the Tatars and Jews of Crimea who are against the Russian invasion. Leonid Polunsky, an ethnic Russian and member of the Crimean parliament, said he was blocked from entering parliament for the vote and compared Russia to 1930s Germany.
They can say whatever they want, but when there is no media, no observers or cameras from other independent media networks, they can say whatever they want. I don't think there was a standard quorum today. Besides, they had no right to set a referendum date, practically dividing Ukraine by that. This looks so much like what happened in 1938 in the Sudetist, northern, southwest and western areas of Czechoslovakia, which were inhabited mostly by German speakers.
Yesterday, potential Democratic U.S. presidential candidate Hillary Clinton repeated her assertion that the justification Russia is using for invading Ukraine are similar to those used by Adolf Hitler.
What I said yesterday is that the claims by President Putin and other Russians that they had to go into Crimea and maybe further into eastern Ukraine because they had to protect the Russian minorities. And that is reminiscent of claims that were made back in the 1930s when Germany under the Nazis kept talking about how they had to protect German minorities in Poland, in Czechoslovakia, and elsewhere throughout Europe.
In Crimea, the Ukrainian Navy command ship Slavutich remains blockaded in Sevastopol port, surrounded by Russian troops, with security guards seen patrolling the coast. Over 100 Ukrainian soldiers and Marines have manned the Slavutich, refusing to surrender despite being at the sharp end of the biggest crisis between Russia and the West since the Cold War.